Good afternoon, Oklahoma DECA. This is Paxton Caven, your Oklahoma DECA Chartered Association Advisor, and I am here to help those of you who are interested in running for state office navigate the application process. So first things first, we're already on this page, but I'm going to tell you how to get to the web page that is very specific to running for state office, and that is you're going to go right to decaok.org, which is our state website. From there, you can select either high school or collegiate, depending on which one you are. And you can go click on that Run for State Office button. And that's going to take you to this Run for State Office page. Now, this page is the same for both our high school and collegiate teams and those candidates who are interested in serving on those. So don't fear finding the right spot. There's only one spot for both of you. So there's a little bit of welcome material here, some information, important reminders, things like that. The first reminder that I'd like to tell you is that the applications are due on December 1st, 2023 by 11:59 p.m. So we'll close that so that I can start reviewing all of those on December 2nd. You will get a notification no later than a week after the deadline date of whether you are accepted to go to the screening phase or not. So be looking for that around December 7th. Screening this year will be on December 16th, and that'll be held at Oklahoma Department of Career Tech here in Stillwater. Again, you'll get an invite to that. So on this page, you will see that we have these three buttons right here. We have important and mandatory dates, our SEC application, and a submit your application button. So let's dive in and let's look at that first one, the important and mandatory dates. This is updated for the 2023-2024 council. Okay, so looking here, we have some reminders about our deadlines and things like that. So you'll apply by December 1st, screening on December 16th, and then your campaign and election will be February 15th through 16th at our CDC in Midwest City. So just some more hints and things like that. There's a lot of reading that comes with this application, a lot of details to follow and things like that. Make sure you proof your work. But this document, this page 3 of this document is incredibly important because these are the dates that you are committing to as an SEC member. It's important that you look at these dates and make sure that you can be there for all of them. Obviously, life happens. We try to be really accommodating, but for the most part, you need to be available to attend all of these different events that are listed here, simply because that is what you're committing to as a state officer. There are a couple of exceptions. So the first one is ICDC. That applies to both the high school and the collegiate ICDC. We do not pay for state officers to attend ICDC, so it's not mandatory. That's an optional one. And then Dodgers Day. So that is not a mandatory event for you to go to. We would love for all of our state officers to be there, but you do not have to attend that day. One day that is incredibly important and that I will highlight this note right here, but that doesn't help, is that if you do not attend CTU or Career Tech University in its entirety, you will be removed from office. CTU is an annual training event that all 7 CTSOs in Oklahoma attend, and it is incredibly important that we are represented and that our team has that time together. So if that's a date that you cannot attend in its entirety, and again, we know life happens, that could result in a automatic removal from office. Okay, so going down this list, I'll explain a few things. So we have our candidate screening. What's going to happen there? Well, you will, if you're invited, get to come to the Department of Career Tech. You will have an interview. You'll take a test about DECA, and you will get to mingle with some of the other officers, and you'll record a video. So all of that is part of the screening process to see if you're going to make it to the election campaigning phase of the process. The second event that you'll be responsible for as a candidate is attending CDC and campaigning there. So that'll be the 15th and 16th, with campaigns happening on the 15th and our awards and announcements happening on the 16th. We will have our state officer orientation and training March 22nd through 23rd here at ODCTE in Stillwater. That'll be with a professional trainer. It'll be the first time that your team gets to get together and train and go through some leadership, public speaking training, things like that. The next event is our Be My Day at the Capitol, April 4th. That'll be at the Oklahoma State Capitol in Oklahoma City. The next event, which is optional, is ICDC in Orlando, Florida from April 22nd to the 25th. And then you'll see that we have that Career Tech University, which is mandatory, and that's May 31st through June 2nd. What that day looks like is an arrival around 10 or 11 on the 31st, and then you stay until about 1 p.m. on June 2nd. So that's the commitment that you'll need to be making. Anywhere where you see monthly meetings, those we tried to schedule them on Fridays this year to make things a little simple. And those typically run from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. There are some changes that may be made throughout the year, but for the most part, we keep those consistent from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. here in Stillwater. Okay, all officers are asked to assist with Oklahoma Summit Day 2, and that is August 2nd, and that will be in Tulsa. You will have the option of helping with August 1st, which is Day 1 of Oklahoma Summit, our professional development training for teachers. But more information will be given if you do make the team. Again, we have DECA and BPA Dodgers Day, optional, but highly encouraged to attend. We have Fall Leadership Conference that will be coming up. So you'll see that we have our FLC planning meeting there. And then we have Fall Leadership Conference from October 15th to 16th. Yours is listed as 2 days rather than the just 1 day, because as a state officer, you would be in charge with helping with setup and things like that prior to the actual day of conference. Okay, skipping through some of those monthly meetings, you'll see that then we have, if you make the team, the CDC that you would be hosting. Again, you're going to see that that is a little bit longer of a date time because you help with the setup of CDC as well. So if you make the team, then February 13th through 15th, 2024 will be the date of your CDC. And then the last week of February, outgoing state officers actually get to attend CTSO Day at the Capitol as a state officer. So I will update everyone on that date, but right now it has not been determined for 2024. And then we have the 2024 ICDC for both collegiate and high school listed. Again, those are optional. So first things first, it's important that you look at this list, this important and mandatory dates list, see if you are available for those dates. If there's 1 or 2 that you have a question about, please feel free to reach out and ask. It never hurts to ask, but know that these are the dates that you are committing to as a state officer. Okay, so going back, that was step 1, important and mandatory dates. On step 2 is the application. You've probably heard about how long this application is. You can see that it's about 26 pages long. And this will go through in great detail all of the things that you are expected to do in this application process and as a state officer. So a few changes. What we did this year is we did take out a lot of the dates out of this because we have that important and mandatory dates document. So you'll see that things are like December 1st, but we're not attaching a year. Or you might see that it doesn't say 2023 at the very top. This is just for ease of use in years to come. So just make sure you're looking at that important dates checklist for your deadlines and things like that. Okay. So in this document, you'll see that we have the candidate handbook, candidate forms, candidate application, and an upload area, and I will show you where that is as well. Again, everything has to be in to me by December 1st, and I'm going to show you right where you need to submit all of that. Okay, so we have a checklist in here. I will tell you that it doesn't count for any bonus points or anything like that, but I do love when all of these items are in order when you submit them. It doesn't have to be that way, but it definitely shows some organizational skills when all of these items are in the same order as listed. So this will go through everything that's in this document, who needs to sign it, everything like that. You do need to include this in the forms that you submit. Okay, so we have our first set of signatures here. Anything that says candidate signature is where you, as the potential candidate, sign. Your local advisor will be signing a lot on this document as well. Okay, so this goes through kind of what we do as a state executive council, the roles. If you're applying for high school, that's a 6-person team. 1 person will be appointed, we have presidential run. So if you're running as a president, you can do that. And then you can also choose to run as a vice president. So we have one president spot on the team and 5 vice president spots on the high school team. Scrolling down, you'll be able to see that we have our collegiate listed out here as well. Same application for both. We have 3, that's a 3-person team with 1 president and 2 vice presidents. Okay, so we get into here, you're going to see a lot of state officer responsibilities. So just make sure that you read through that very carefully. It gives an indication of how busy you are going to be if you make the team and things like that. Definitely a wonderful opportunity, but I don't want to lie to you and tell you that it's super easy and doesn't come with a lot of responsibility and things like that, because it does. It's a great honor, but a big commitment as well. Okay, so candidate information. This goes through your qualifications to run and things like that. We'll go through a couple of these that might be questioned. So if you are wanting to run for the high school team, you need to be a current 9th, 10th, or 11th grader. That will qualify you to run for the high school team, and you must be attending high school the next year during your term. So you must be a student. With collegiate, you can run as a current senior, or you can run as a graduated student. The key being that you must be attending school during the year that you're serving. So you must be a student at any point in time that you're applying or serving as a state officer. Okay, and with collegiate, you can be at a 2-4-year university or college, or you can be at a technology center. So we have a wide range of opportunities there for our members. Okay, so membership, you must be a active, paid, in good standing member to apply to be a candidate and things like that. So make sure that that is good. We go through some grade point average information here, with the point being that school comes first. So your CTSO is here to support your academic career, not to be detrimental to it. So just make sure that you have things in order. If this is not your year, then maybe next year is. Okay, this goes through the application process, what's included, things like that. Okay, no handwritten, incomplete, or late materials. Okay, it goes through the screening process. Your application is part of those points that you get. You must get a minimum of 245 out of the possible 350 points. Okay, this is all broken down. You'll have your panel interview, a script reading, your DECA knowledge test. There is a study guide on the advisor quick link section of our decaok.org website. Okay, so you can see how all of that, you must score at least 70% of all of those points. Okay, so something we added a couple of years ago was a recorded video. You'll see that you'll be able to draw one of these questions, 1 through 7, and you're going to answer that in video format. You know that our state officers record quite a bit of videos and are often asked questions about DECA. So we thought this was a great way to incorporate both of those activities into one to get our candidates used to what they might be doing on a team. Okay. After screening, we'll let you know if you make it past so that you can start campaigning and things like that. You get a maximum of $350 to spend on campaign materials. We do ask that you do not bring gum, stickers, or other adhesives, foods that's not commercially made and prepackaged, and no beverages other than bottled water. And those are simply not only our rules, but the hotel rules as well. So we would appreciate those being followed. If you do have those items at your booth, we will have to ask you to remove them, and that's never a good thing for anyone. So lots of things here. If you make it to the campaigning portion, and as you're thinking of your campaign, be sure to read through these. You can have a campaign manager, someone who can help you, especially if you're competing at CDC. A campaign manager can hang out at your booth while you're competing and things like that, so that you don't miss out on any of your campaign time at CDC. Okay, so this kind of goes through what's allowed campaigning wise and things like that. Prior to CDC, you shouldn't be telling people prior to CDC on social media that you're campaigning. We don't want any campaigning before the date and things like that. We want to keep everything fair for all of our candidates. You can tell your local chapter, but you need to tell them verbally. Don't post it online or anything like that. And then at CDC, it kind of talks about where you can campaign, how you can campaign, and things like that. You'll get much more information from me about this if you are accepted into the campaigning portion of this process. Okay, so this next part goes into your campaign speech. You get a maximum of 2 minutes. This will be given at the opening session at CDC, which is in the evening on the 15th. So be prepared for that. Kind of goes through all these different things, so make sure you read all the rules. Okay, so then this is the grievance policy. So if something were to happen, then you have that right to file a grievance. Okay, so this goes into how we vote. You for sure want your chapter there to vote in our business meeting directly following the general session. Each chapter in DECA gets 2 votes. So make sure that that is in line there. And again, make sure that your chapter attends, especially if you have a state officer running, you want to make sure that you're getting your chapter's votes. And again, that session is following the general session. So it's a later session in the evening. Okay, perfect. Okay, so this part under election sessions just kind of goes through what's involved and things like that, who can attend. So make sure you read through that. If you have questions, please do not hesitate to ask. Okay, and then we start all of our forms. So we have the nomination form that'll be signed by the local advisor and the candidate. Okay, so then we have all of these things that the officer and the local advisor are committing to. So if you, so your applicant signature, that will be the candidate. If you are under 18, you'll need to have your parent or guardian sign here. Local advisor, your high school administrator, and if you're at a technology center, you'll need to have your technology center administrator sign here as well. If you are at a high school, you do not have to have, you can just write NA on the technology center sign. If you are at a technology center though, we do need your sending high school signature and your technology center administrator advisor. So please make sure that you get both of those. If you are a collegiate student and only at the technology center, then just write NA on the high school. That's fine. So we'll look at all those to make sure that everything makes sense for you. Okay, so the grievance form, you're going to go ahead and fill that out. Make sure that I have a contact phone number at CDC that is usable so that we can get a hold of you on site at CDC if needed. Okay, so you're going to sign the reasons for removal form just so we make sure you understand that. The social media contract, because above all, we want you to be professional. So make sure you go through that. The permission to drive form. This is used if you do get elected. That just helps us have this on file to know if you can ride with a state personnel or if you cannot, things like that. Who has permission to drive you places? Okay, so this is the local advisor form, and this is your local advisor agreeing to assist you and support you throughout the year. This is a big job for both the candidate and the local advisor. Okay, and then we have some more signatures. Perfect. Okay, so this is the point in, if this were a workshop, I'd be asking for questions. But since this is just a recording, we won't do that. We're going to go ahead and skip right to the place where you're going to submit your application, which is right here. Step 3. Okay, so right here, you're going to see we have this high school and collegiate. It is open for the new term. We will accept digital signatures, and you'll just go through here and you're going to fill this out and make sure that you proof it. Something very, very important is that this application does not have a save and continue option. So what I recommend doing, especially for spelling and just time purposes and things like that, type it all out on a Word document, save it, check it, spell check it, all of that, and then just copy and paste it over. So if you have 2 monitors or you can split your screen, have this application open on one window, have your Word document open on the other, and just work through it. That way your local advisor can look at it and everything like that before you actually pop it into the application and hit that submit button. Okay, so this is important. You're going to choose high school or collegiate, so you make sure you get the right team. And then you will also choose president or vice president, so I know exactly what you're applying for. Okay, so you're going to have your name, your phonetic pronunciation of your name. So just make sure that you know how to do that. I have my name as an example here. So, and I'll say my name. So for example, Paxton Caven would be written out like this, and that's how you would say Paxton Caven and write it out. That is just so that our stage production team knows how to pronounce your name. We want to get your name correct. Okay, so then from here, it's just basic information, things like that. If you are over 18 and you don't have an emergency contact or a parent, guardian, spouse, you can just write NA in these, that's fine. Okay, you're gonna write your current grade level, not the one that you're going into. Local advisor. Okay, so then we start getting into kind of the harder questions. Not too hard, just more information than just your general fill out form about you kind of information. So this first one, provide up to 3 examples of leadership in school, community, and other organizations. The next one is describe your involvement in activities, school related or otherwise, that don't necessarily involve leadership. So those are kind of up to you. Then we're going to have your 200-word statement. You're going to type that here. And this is going to be posted online. And then all of these social media questions, there's, I believe there's 7 total, yes, 6 total. They are optional. You do not have to fill them out, but we will not post all 6 of, well, we'll post the ones that you send us. So you're going to get maximum exposure if you fill out all 6. So just make sure that they are limited to 230 characters, not 230 words, but 230 characters each. That includes spaces, ands, thes, all of that. Okay, so just make sure you're doing that. So the first one is describe how you DECA to someone in an elevator. What experiences have prepared you to be a DECA state officer? What accomplishment in DECA are you most proud of? How do you grow the membership of Oklahoma DECA? You have the ability to add something new to DECA, describe it, and why should people vote for you? Okay, so then from here, it says application and accompanying materials upload. This is where you're going to upload your photo, preferably in a JPEG or PNG type file. And then you can also upload your scanned documents with all of your forms. What I recommend doing is putting them in order according to that checklist, and then sending them through your scanner and sending them to me as one file. You can upload them all as separate files, but it always works better if it's one file. So you'll add all of that here. Don't email it to me. You're going to add it all right here. Okay, and then from there you hit your submit button. A little thank you will pop up on the screen after you do that. And then from there, you've submitted your application, which is the hardest part of this whole process. Once we get that, like I said, a week, no later than a week after the December 1st deadline, you'll hear from me about whether you make it to the screening phase of the process or not. And I cannot wait to meet you all and work with you. I am thankful that you're even listening to this video, because that means that you're interested in running for a state office. It's something that can truly change your life, and I hope that I get to meet you soon. Good luck with the application process. Bye.